Okay, so those get-rich-quick schemes, right? The
Yeah.
ones we see all over online.
Yeah.
Well, today we're looking at where those meet. Social media, talking about online betting apps and the influencers that are promoting them.
Mm.
We've got some sources here, and looks like the Andhra Pradesh Police are cracking down on exactly that.
Yeah. And it gets pretty wild. What's interesting is that the police are calling these apps digital pickpockets,
Digital pickpockets.
which I think perfectly describes, the deceptive tactics that they use a lot of the time.
I like the digital pickpockets. I mean, can you break that down a little bit more for us?
Well, so think about it. A pickpocket, right? They rely on distraction and sleight of hand
Right.
to steal your wallet and you don't even notice.
Yeah.
These apps operate in a similar way.
Uh-huh.
So they use flashy graphics, promises of huge wins, and even fake testimonials
Oh, wow.
to distract you with the allure of easy money.
Oh, yeah.
But behind the scenes, the algorithms are often designed to subtly drain your funds.
Oh, so it's not as simple as just bad luck.
Right.
Or maybe even just making bad betting choices.
Right.
There's like a layer of manipulation built into the apps themselves.
Exactly. And these apps go a step further by exploiting some of our basic human instincts.
Oh, okay.
Take the sunk cost fallacy, for example.
Sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that one.
So it's a psychological bias where we tend to stick with something, even if it's clearly not working, simply because we've already invested time, money, effort into it.
Oh.
These apps are designed to trigger that, so even when you're losing, you might feel compelled to keep betting, hoping to recover your losses.
So you get hooked by the initial promise of easy money, and then the app's design keeps you trapped in that cycle.
Yeah.
It's pretty insidious when you think about it.
Yeah, it is. And that brings us to this fascinating case of Vasupalli Nani,
Okay.
the fisherman and YouTuber who was recently arrested for promoting some of these very apps.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. A fisherman promoting online betting. I mean, there's a certain irony there.
Yeah, there is. I think Nani's story is a prime example of how these apps are targeting individuals from all walks of life.
Yeah.
He might seem like an unlikely candidate to fall for or promote these schemes,
Right.
but it just goes to show how widespread this problem really is. It also raises the crucial question of influencer responsibility.
Yeah, so what are the potential consequences here for both influencers like Nani and their followers?
Well, for influencers, promoting illegal gambling activities carries significant legal risks, including fines, penalties, even jail time. Not to mention the potential damage to their reputation.
Yeah.
But for followers, the consequences can be even more devastating.
Oh, wow.
They risk losing their hard-earned money, falling into debt, and even developing gambling addictions.
And so the stakes are high.
Yeah.
Our sources describe some pretty creative tactics that these apps use to lure people in. One that really stood out to me was this almost satirical example of an influencer unboxing a betting app, like it's the latest tech gadget, and then offering a discount code to their followers.
Right.
I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it also highlights how blurred the lines between entertainment and financial advice have become.
That's right. They're using marketing strategies that are specifically designed to create a sense of urgency, excitement, and social proof. And they often leverage influencers to lend an air of legitimacy to their schemes. But what's even more concerning is that some of these apps are manipulating their algorithm
Oh, okay.
to show fake wins and testimonials.
Hold on. Manipulating algorithms to show fake wins. How does that even work?
It's all about creating the illusion of winning, making it seem like everyone's cashing in. Imagine opening up one of these apps and seeing a constant stream of notifications about other users hitting jackpots.
Okay, yeah.
Creates a powerful psychological effect.
It plays on that fear of missing out, doesn't it? Like you see all these other people supposedly winning,
Yeah.
and you think, hey, maybe I could be next. But in reality, it's all smoke and mirrors.
Exactly. They're preying on our natural desire to win and our tendency to trust what we see, especially if it's coming from someone we admire or follow online.
Right.
This is where the real danger lies.
You know, this is making me think about all the times I've seen those ads promising unrealistic returns on investments.
Yeah.
Or guaranteed wins at online casinos. It's easy to dismiss them as scams, but I'm realizing now that there's a lot more going on beneath the surface.
Yeah.
Have you ever encountered anything like this online?
Of course. We've all seen those enticing offers, but what's fascinating is that these scams are becoming increasingly sophisticated,
Yeah.
blurring the lines between legitimate investment opportunities and outright fraud. And they're particularly effective at targeting vulnerable individuals who may be desperate for a financial windfall.
Yeah. It's a scary thought. And this brings us back to the Andhra Pradesh Police and their crackdown on influencers promoting these apps. I mean, they're not just issuing warnings, they're taking real action. Our sources mention that the Vijayawada Cybercrime Police are actively investigating influencer accounts.
Yeah.
What exactly are they looking for?
They're trying to uncover evidence of potential wrongdoing, identify the individuals and networks behind these scams. They're also trying to determine whether the influencers knowingly promoted these apps, which could lead to charges of aiding and abetting criminal activity.
So there's a real possibility of criminal charges for these influencers.
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
It is, and it underscores the importance of due diligence and ethical considerations when it comes to influencer marketing.
Right.
These individuals have a significant influence over their followers, and they need to be held accountable for the products and services they promote.
Absolutely. But it's not just about holding influencers accountable, right? It's also about protecting consumers from falling victim to these schemes. What are some of the red flags that people should be aware of?
That's a great question. First and foremost, be wary of any promises of quick and easy money. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Also, pay close attention to the language used in the ads and promotions. Are they using vague or exaggerated claims? Are they relying heavily on emotional appeals or testimonials?
Got it.
These can be signs of a scam.
So it's all about being a savvy consumer and not letting those flashy promises cloud your judgment. What other advice would you give to our listener to help them stay safe online?
Do your research. Before engaging with any online platform, especially those involving financial transactions, take the time to read reviews, check for security certifications, and verify the legitimacy of the company. Don't just take an influencer's word for it.
That's solid advice. We'll continue our deep dive into this world of online betting app scams in part 2. Well, we're back. We're picking up our deep dive into online betting apps and the world of influencer marketing.
Yeah.
Before the break, we were talking about how these apps exploit our psychology to keep us hooked.
Yeah. These apps are incredibly savvy when it comes to tapping into our deepest desires and vulnerabilities. It's not just about offering tempting bonuses or anything.
Right.
It's about crafting an experience that keeps users engaged even when they're losing.
So can you give us an example of what you mean? How do they actually achieve that?
Well, consider the way that these apps are designed, right?
Yeah.
They often feature bright colors, flashing lights, exciting sound effects. All those things trigger our reward centers. So every time you place a bet, you get a little dopamine hit, even if you lose.
So it's like they're hijacking our brain's natural reward system to create a sense of excitement and anticipation.
Exactly. And they often employ techniques like near misses.
Near misses.
Where you almost win, but you fall just short.
Yeah.
This creates a sense of frustration and a desire to keep playing to try and get that win.
It's almost like they're dangling a carrot just out of reach.
Right.
And keeping you chasing after it.
Precisely. And don't forget about the power of social proof.
Oh, social proof. Okay.
Many of these apps feature leaderboards, social features that allow users to see how their friends are doing.
Okay.
You know, if you see that your friends are winning big, you're more likely to feel pressured
to
join in and try your luck.
It taps into that fear of missing out, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Like we've all felt that.
Yeah.
Especially in the age of social media.
And these apps are designed to exploit those feelings.
Right.
It's a brilliant, albeit manipulative marketing strategy.
It's pretty unsettling
to
realize how much thought and effort goes into designing these apps to be as addictive as possible.
It is. And this is where the ethical considerations come into play.
Yeah.
Are these companies simply providing a service?
Right.
Or are they intentionally preying on people's vulnerabilities?
That's a question that's becoming increasingly difficult to answer as these acts become more sophisticated.
Right.
More integrated into our lives.
And it's not just about the acts themselves.
Right.
We also need to consider the role of influencers in promoting these potentially harmful products.
Right.
These individuals have a responsibility to be transparent with their audiences and to understand the potential risks associated with what they're promoting.
It's a complex issue with far-reaching implications.
Yeah.
You know, we've been focusing on the individual impact of these apps.
Right.
But I'm also curious about the wider societal effects. What happens when we start blurring the lines between entertainment and financial advice?
That's an excellent question.
Hmm.
One of the concerns is that it erodes trust in traditional sources of financial information.
Hmm.
When people see their favorite influencers promoting get-rich-quick
Oh,
schemes, it can create a sense of confusion and skepticism towards more reliable financial advice.
So it's like these flashy promotions are overshadowing the more nuanced
Yeah,
and responsible messages
right.
about financial planning and investing.
Exactly. And this is particularly concerning for younger generations
Hmm.
who are heavily influenced by social media
Right.
and may not have the same level of financial literacy as older adults.
It's almost like we're creating a generation that believes that wealth is attainable through luck and shortcuts,
Right.
rather than through hard work, education, sound financial planning.
That's a valid concern, and it's something that educators, parents, and policymakers need to address. We need to start having more open and honest conversations about money
Yeah.
and empower young people with the tools and knowledge they need to make informed financial decisions.
It's about building a foundation of financial literacy.
Yeah,
They can help them navigate the increasingly complex world of online finance.
precisely. And it's not just about teaching young people, it's about educating everyone. We need to create a culture of critical thinking and skepticism
Right.
when it comes to financial information, especially online.
So what can our listener do to protect themselves and their loved ones
Yeah.
from falling victim to these scams?
The first step is awareness. The more you understand about the tactics these apps and influencers use, the better equipped you'll be to spot them. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
That's such an important point. It's okay to be skeptical
Right.
and to do your own research.
Right.
What other practical advice would you give?
Be mindful of who you follow online. Just because someone has a large following or presents themselves as an expert
Right.
doesn't mean they're trustworthy.
Right.
Do your due diligence, check their credentials, and see if they have any conflicts of interest.
So it's all about taking control of your own online experience,
Yeah.
being selective about the information you consume. Don't just passively accept everything you see.
Right.
Be an active participant, ask questions, and make informed choices.
Exactly. And remember, there's no shame in seeking help if you need it. If you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling addiction, there are resources available.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to reach out for support.
That's great advice. We'll be back after the break to discuss some potential solutions and wrap up our deep dive into the world of online betting apps. All right, we're back for the final part of our deep dive. And we've uncovered some pretty unsettling stuff.
Yeah.
But now I want to know, what can be done to actually address this?
Well, it's a really complicated problem.
Yeah.
And it'll need, a multi-pronged approach to solve it. But one really crucial thing is stricter regulations.
Right.
Governments and regulatory bodies, they need to step up
Yeah.
and create some clear guidelines for online gambling ads
Right.
and influencer marketing.
Okay, so more oversight, basically,
Yeah,
to make
yeah.
sure that these platforms are operating, responsibly and ethically.
Right, because there's a lot of gray area right now, and that benefits these companies.
Yeah, so is that enough? Is regulation alone enough?
It's a good start, but it's not the whole solution. We also need to empower individuals
Okay.
with the knowledge and skills they need to deal with this increasingly complex online world.
So it all comes down to education.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're talking about financial literacy.
Exactly.
Okay, so making sure that people, have the tools to understand these risks and make informed decisions.
Exactly. And financial literacy needs to be, like a core part of education,
Uh-huh.
and it needs to start young.
Okay.
So we need to teach them about responsible financial management, critical thinking skills, and the dangers of get-rich-quick schemes. And this education, it can't just happen in school.
Right.
It needs to be at home, in schools, and in the community as well.
Yeah, it's about giving people the tools to be savvy
Yeah.
about financial information.
Right. And we can't forget about traditional media.
Okay.
They have a responsibility to report on these issues accurately and to, provide a platform for experts.
To share their knowledge. A well-informed public is a more resilient public.
So it sounds like we need investigative journalism
Yeah.
to expose these scams
Right.
and hold people accountable.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got stricter regulations, better education, and responsible reporting from the media. What can our listener do, in the meantime?
Well, first thing is Be wary of promises of quick and easy money.
Right.
If it sounds too good to be true,
Yeah.
it probably is.
It probably is, yeah.
And remember that real wealth,
Mm-hmm.
it's built over time
Uh-huh.
through hard work, sound planning, and, a healthy dose of skepticism.
Don't fall for those get-rich-quick schemes.
Right.
No shortcut to financial security.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're thinking about investing in something or, engaging with a particular platform,
Right.
do your research.
Mm-hmm.
Read reviews, check for certifications,
Mm-hmm.
verify the company's legit.
Be a critical thinker.
Yeah.
Don't just take someone's word for it. It's exact. Even if they seem like they know what they're talking about. Right. And be mindful of the information that you see online.
Okay.
Pay attention to the source. Is it a reputable news outlet,
Mm-hmm.
a real financial expert, or just another influencer trying to, sell you something?
It's about being, informed
Yeah.
and a discerning consumer of information,
Absolutely.
especially these days.
Especially these days. And remember, if you or someone you know is struggling with a gambling addiction,
Yeah.
there are resources available.
Right.
Don't be afraid to reach out and get help.
We've covered a lot today,
Yeah.
but the main takeaway, I think, is that your financial well-being is up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Be informed, be vigilant, and don't let those promises of easy money, cloud your judgment.
I couldn't agree more. By understanding these tactics and, building your financial literacy,
Mm-hmm.
you can protect yourself
Yeah.
and make good decisions that
Okay.
lead to real financial security.
This has been a really insightful deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope you'll join us again next time.